Although it's nicknamed Motor City, there's a lot more to Detroit than simply its industrial heritage, and I truly think it's one of the most interesting and even underrated cities in the country. It has a unique and fascinating history, and in the last decade, it became the first U.S. city to be designated by UNESCO as a City of Design. In this series, I briefly cover a city's history, population, skyline, as well as a few things that make the city unique. Now let's meet Detroit. I always like to start by exploring how a city wound up being where it is today. Detroit is located on the Detroit River between Lake Erie and Lake St. Clair. For centuries, the area has been important for trade, beginning with Native American tribes such as the Huron and Iroquois. In 1701, the French explorer Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac constructed the Fort Pontchartrain de Detroit on the river, which made it the first European settlement above tidewater in North America. After the fall of Quebec during the Seven Years' War, Fort Detroit was surrendered to the British, and then in 1794 it was ceded to the United States as part of the Jay Treaty. Following the Civil War, Detroit transformed into an industrial powerhouse and later became the automobile capital of the world, with Henry Ford introducing the assembly line in 1914. Just 6 years later, it was the fourth largest city in the country. Today, Detroit ranks as the 29th largest city in the country, with a city proper population of around 620,000. I tend to think that metro population is a better indicator of a city's actual size, and Detroit has a metro population of over 4,340,000, making it the 14th largest metro in the country, being just smaller than San Francisco and larger than Seattle. It's the second largest metro in the Midwest, only trailing Chicago. Detroit and its Canadian neighbor Windsor make up the largest combined metro along a border in all of North America. Some of the most recognizable companies located in Detroit include Little Caesars, Ally Financial, and then of course the big three US automotive manufacturers, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. The most notable university in Detroit's metro area is Wayne State University, which is part of one of the nation's top academic research clusters, the University Research Corridor, which also includes Michigan State University and the University of Michigan. Call me shallow, but when it comes to cities, I think appearances matter. Detroit has a borderline top 20 skyline in the country, in my opinion. My favorite aspect of the skyline is the Renaissance Center, with its 5 connected skyscrapers that all share the same architectural style. The cylindrical Central Tower is the tallest building in Michigan at 727 feet. The Renaissance Center is without question the most recognizable landmark in the skyline, and without it, the Detroit skyline would be somewhat difficult to pick out among skylines of smaller cities. There is, however, a beautiful new skyscraper going up downtown that will help balance out the whole skyline, and that is the Hudson Sight Tower, which at 685 feet will be the second tallest building in the skyline. After its completion, if you took the average height of Detroit's tallest 5 buildings, it would rank as the 20th tallest skyline in the country, being shorter than Las Vegas, but taller than New Orleans. Just upriver from the Renaissance Center is one of the most impressive and interesting city parks in the country, Belle Isle. It's known as the Jewel of Detroit, and at 982 acres, it's the nation's largest island park and is 150 acres larger than Central Park in New York City. The park has hundreds of acres of forested wetlands, and it also has several architectural landmarks such as the James Scott Memorial Fountain, the Belle Isle Conservatory, and the Belle Isle Aquarium. The aquarium was opened in 1904 and before temporarily closing in 2005 was the oldest continually operating public aquarium in North America. Another unique park I should mention is Campus Martius Park. USA Today ranked the park as the best public square in the nation. The park is the heart of downtown and has various gardens and stages for performances. One of the things that makes the park the heart of the city are the radial avenues that converge at Campus Martius Park. Detroit was at one point nicknamed the Paris of the Midwest, in part at least because of these broad radial avenues. Just a block down Woodward Avenue from the park is one of the many architectural gems of the city, the Guardian Building. Those of you who've watched my channel for a while will know that I'm a big fan of Art Deco architecture, and the Guardian Building is considered one of the boldest examples of Art Deco in the world. The exterior has a unique brick color known as Guardian brick, which is accentuated by tile and limestone. The building was described as a vertical rainbow at its dedication because of its bold colors. The colorful tiled vaulted lobby also helps contribute to that description. The Guardian building, however, may not even be the best looking Art Deco building in the city, because the Fisher building is also an Art Deco icon. At 428 feet in height, the Fisher building is referred to as Detroit's largest art object. Similar to the Guardian building, it also has an ornate, beautiful vaulted lobby. Another architectural landmark of Detroit is the Detroit Masonic Temple, which is the largest Masonic temple in the world. A few of the most notable features of the temple include a large Gothic chapel, the Fountain Ballroom, which was the site of Detroit's first auto show, and finally a massive auditorium used as a performance hall. About a mile east of the Masonic Temple is the Eastern Market. The market is made up of several sheds and is the largest historic public market district in the country. Detroit has several fascinating museums worth mentioning. At the top of that list is the Henry Ford. It's the largest indoor-outdoor museum complex in the country. The museum celebrates American ingenuity, and even the face of the museum is a replica of Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Some of the interesting historical artifacts within the museum include the chair Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in, the limousine that JFK was assassinated in, George Washington's camp bed, the Rosa Parks bus, Thomas Edison's laboratory, as well as various historic automobiles. It's certainly one of the most impressive museums in the country. As part of the museum, guests can also see a Ford assembly line in operation. Another unique Detroit museum is the much smaller Motown Museum, nicknamed Hitsville, USA. This is where several famous artists, including the Temptations and Stevie Wonder, recorded with the Funk Brothers. It was the first Black-owned record company in the United States. The Detroit Institute of Arts is widely considered one of the best art museums in the country, and in 2023, USA Today even ranked it as the top art museum in the country. The building itself is beautiful, and housed within it are 100 galleries of art. The art collection's value is estimated to be worth over $8 billion. One of the most unique pieces of art is a small French Gothic chapel from the 16th century, which was rebuilt within the museum. And while on the topic of art, I should mention the Spirit of Detroit statue. This large sculpture holds a golden orb representing God in one hand and a family in the other. It's the primary symbol of the city of Detroit. Detroit is also a big sports city and is the only city to have its 4 major sports teams, those being the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, and Red Wings, play within the downtown district. And I'll end this video by mentioning something that I rarely mention in these videos, and that's the airport. I travel a decent amount for work, and Detroit has perhaps my favorite airport in the country. It usually battles with my home airport of Minneapolis as the top-rated airport in the nation. Well, that wraps up my video about Detroit. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and check out some of my other videos about cities. Thanks for watching.